Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to The Pursuit. Today, I'm joined by Sam Mugavero. Nailed it?
Close enough, man.
Close enough.
Close enough.
I'm trying. Sorry, I'll say it with a more American accent. Mugavero. That was better.
That was better. That was
Yeah.
better.
And he is the founder and CEO of SMUGS Fitness. He's the owner of Sportsite Atlanta and the co-owner of Go Play Shoes. So multiple business owner, entrepreneur, and man, we've known each other quite a while now. I think we first met deep in the pandemic. We should have met before that, but just the way life is, we were both doing our own thing and like
Definitely
2
ran in
miles away from
circles.
each other. Yeah, like a mile away from each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome. So I start this always the same, and you're a multiple business owner. You've been an entrepreneur for how long now?
About 15, 16 years ish.
Okay.
But I mean, that started back when I was a teenager with landscaping. So maybe we'll call it about 25 to 30 years at this point.
Okay, great. 25 years, but 15 years really in your own, like,
as an adult. Yeah.
Knowing you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Where is the happiness in this journey for you?
I mean, the happiness is multiple things. It's job creation. I love being able to provide careers for people. In the gym business in particular, you don't see a lot of careers. You see cycling of employees, or if they're even employees, in a lot of gyms. And you rarely see people be able to make a life doing fitness. I have one employee that's been with me for 8 years. I have another who's going into his 5th year. He just bought a house. And one of the biggest accomplishments I think I've ever had is having an employee be compensated well enough to buy a house, which is it's awesome. That was one of the best feelings. So, the job creation piece and being able to build careers for people is really important to me. It's fun. I love seeing them grow. I love challenging them. I love when they challenge me. That's a happy spot. Another happy spot is I take my kids to school every morning and I pick them up every day. And if I had a 9 to 5 or whatever, there's no way that would be possible. So being able to be there for those moments is completely priceless. And, maybe you sacrifice a little bit of income there as you're building things, but you're not going to get that time back. So that's a happy spot for me. So those two things are the main drivers.
Yeah, that's cool. How long do you think it took you to, obviously not having kids probably when you first started, right? And then not really having employees at first.
Yeah.
You kind of don't know. That's where I don't think if I talked to you 15 years ago, you give me that answer, obviously, right? But how is that journey? How have you come to that place?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because you fight it a little bit. You resist thinking, oh, I'm good on my own. I don't need any help. I had some contractors that had other jobs that kind of helped fill in gaps with coaching and things when I first started it. But then when I opened the original space in Kirkwood, and we grew really, really quickly, it seemed like I had to find a new way. So I hired my first real employee in 2017 and 2016 really, and she's still here now. She's also the general manager of SMUGS Fitness and really runs the show. The big picture stuff is mine, but she runs the show, which is amazing. But I fought that. She had to sit me down and say, you really, not only do you need me as a coach, but another year or two, you need me to manage this place for you because we're going to hire 1 or 2 more people. And that's exactly what happened. So it took hiring somebody strong enough to tell me and help me see, and some friends and mentors too. Like this is where you're going, or you're going to stay here. And there was fine until I really kind of dug deep and saw that there's so many more people we can serve, and there's jobs that could be created, and there's, I had to be. Not talked into it, but I had to be nudged along, and now it's the driver. So it's not even I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because originally the dream is yours, right? Like I love this fitness thing. This is where I started. And I think I can, create something different or better than what I've seen around me. So I'm going to go and do this. And you become the coach, the bottle washer, the floor sweeper, literally the everything to the business.
Yep.
And I remember my first business coach saying, hire a cleaner. And I said, but I clean it better than they can. And he said, you're insane. It's this much money an hour. And that's what you're pricing yourself at if you decide that you want to do that. Or, like you said, this thing's got to grow. And to grow, it needs some vision and it needs somebody at the top.
Right.
If you don't want to be at the top, it's never going to get to where you want it to go. And like, for me, it was hiring a cleaner and reading the book, The E-Myth, and realizing that I just created the world's worst job for myself.
Mm-hmm.
For you, it was another person telling you, but it's a hard realization that you can't do it all on your own at first, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you said it. You created a job. You didn't create a business. You know, even though you thought you had a business, and we've all been there. Like we've all had a job that we just happened to be all the things in the job versus working for a large company that has people in place for that. You know, the cleaning thing's funny. You know, every gym owner, I think, goes through that at some point. We've actually cycled back from having a cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've developed a system where we're all cleaning almost all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a team thing. Like you go in and wash your hands, you're wiping the sink down, you wipe the toilet down, boom. And then we do a deep clean once a week, of course.
Yeah.
But like we used to have a cleaner 3 nights a week. And we after the pandemic, we sort of moved away from it because we were all so hypersensitive to cleaning, and we haven't gone back despite me thinking at some point we probably will, but it's been so good. So it's interesting. Like,
yeah,
you went through that evolution as well.
Well, for me, it was bigger than like the literal job of cleaning. It was, I can put off all the problems that are going on in the business because I'm busy cleaning.
Because you're cleaning, totally.
Right. And the cleaning's easy.
Yeah.
Like I can just get the mop and I can put my headphones in. I can mop the floor when really I need to go get 5 more clients to grow the business. But that's hard. And that's going to mean I have to like figure out a strategy and go and do hard things. Whereas this, once I mop the floor, I can look at it and go, did it. Shiny, job done, check box. But as you know, being an entrepreneur, there's no check box for building a business. There's no check box for taking your vision from what it is and making it a reality. Like you've got to go down that path and you've got to make 20 mistakes. You got to get good advice and hopefully don't make, but you got to try some stuff, right? And going and cleaning the gym for 2 hours, super easy. Like you get a sweat. You're like, oh, look what I did. I'm on top of the world. I just cleaned my own business and really taken 2 hours backwards, right? And it's hard. It's a big deal for me was that moment. I'll never forget it. And like for you looking at your business, for you having that same experience with somebody telling you that is cool because without that person that's with you now that just bought a house, that has a career, because of you being able to level up, there wouldn't be the other 2 businesses probably, right?
No. I never would have had the time, the experience, the capacity, any of that.
Well, and even more important, you won't be picking your kids up from school.
Exactly.
So the 2 things that you described at the start, if you were like, I can do it better myself, I'm going to stay in this little box, it would literally be that. You'd be boxing yourself in.
Right.
Maybe even SMUGS Fitness wouldn't be around.
Yeah, I think the burnout would have happened maybe a couple of years back. Maybe pandemic burnout, would have happened had we not already had employees in place. We had some great things happen during the pandemic. We already had a virtual program in place, so being able to have the staff to kick over into fully virtual, so it wasn't just me doing everything.
Yeah.
I think that was really important. And I think the burnout would have happened there, trying to keep that going and, do homeschooling with the kids and virtual learning that time. Like, it's been pretty tough. So,
yeah. So where do you spend the most of your time now between the 3 businesses?
So I probably spend the least amount of time working SMUGS, but that time is probably the most productive because we have so many systems. I keep a handful of clients that are just people I really enjoy training. But I spend the most of the time at SMUGS because we run Sports Site out of the small side of SMUGS.
Yeah.
And so right now my time is pretty equally split between Sports Site and GoPlay. The kids' shoe store is only a year and 3 months old. So we're in, we're where I was with the gym, 15 or 14, 15 years ago or whatever, where we're grinding and we're trying and we're missing and then we're finding and we're doing all the things to try to really, our goal is to disrupt how shoes are purchased right now and take it back, 40 years before everybody bought a dozen pairs of shoes on Amazon and then sent back 11 of them 3 days later, without a proper fitting, and you're getting shoes that aren't high quality. We're really working hard to educate our consumers, our customers, our friends, our networks about what we're trying to do here. Yeah. And those who have latched onto it really love it. We have such a cool, loyal customer base in just a year and 3 months. It's amazing. So yeah. The goal now is to find more of those. And that
let's get back to GoPlay, because I'm interested in that.
Sure.
But I want to go back to what you skip past, that you spend the least amount of time in SMUGS Fitness. And yeah. I think that's awesome just to hear it. And other people that are not potentially business owners might not understand why that's awesome. But it's awesome because that means you've built a business there, right? Not a job. And it's running, and you've got systems, and you've got people in places that are doing their job, so that you can do, whenever you do work on it, you do the most important thing. You do some things that you maybe other people would tell you shouldn't, but you just enjoy it. So why not? Because
I could definitely coach less, right?
But if you want to do it, you want to do it.
I keep the ones I really want to work with.
Well, there's a difference between choice and having to do it, right?
Totally.
So the fact that it's your choice means that it's good. Whatever it is, it's good. It's your choice. Like I can't. Some people want to just completely shift and then take all the fun out of it. Like if there's something you want to do, even if it doesn't make money, but it's in your business and you love it, why not? Right? Like, and then you work your sports site out of that.
Yeah.
To get to this point now where that's happening, going from the last 5 or 6 years, it sounds awesome. But in there, I know there's been some huge challenges, right? So like looking back a few years, do you even think you would be here with SMUGS Fitness now? Like,
I think, I'll jump back a little bit and kind of link that together, and I'll try to do it efficiently. So I had owned another pair of gyms north of the city back in 2013 through about 2016. From there, we had kids. It was too hard to make that commute anymore. They were up in Vinings and Marietta. We have both kids now. So I closed up shop, sold my ownership in there.
Was it SMUGS?
It was not SMUGS. Okay. It was called Atlanta Strength and Conditioning.
Cool.
I had a business partner there. And so when I left that kind of group, I trained out of my garage for 9 months until my space opened up here in Kirkwood. And, it took me a while to even get to the point where, do I need a space? My garage is huge. I have rings from the ceiling. It was perfect. Everything was easy. My overhead was, it's my living space. It was easy. Yeah. And it took some prodding there to even take the leap and say, all right, you're gonna spend $2,500 a month or whatever in rent, but you're gonna grow, And then the same thing happened with the current space we have. It was, well, you're busting at the seams. You're gonna have to make a leap, and you're gonna have to quadruple your rent. Are you gonna do it? And in December 2019, signed that lease, and then pandemic hit, and we couldn't even open for 8 months. Right? Like we were supposed to move in July. We didn't get open until December of 2020. So
that's the space you're in now?
That's the place we're in now. So I said that.
In the gym before that?
I had my small space, yeah.
But I had original. Wasn't that space that you moved into already a gym? Like, wasn't it?
It was, but City of Atlanta doesn't make it easy for you. And during the pandemic, when there's no human interaction, it was really hard. I couldn't get an inspector out, and the list of things we could talk about for 3 days now of how unbelievably difficult it was.
Basically change the name of a gym, because like it was already a gym.
Yeah,
so we're gonna do the same thing that they were doing.
All we had to do was do a little painting and clean some floors and put our equipment in. Like it should have been so easy, but it wasn't. And that's sort of the way it goes. But I say all that to kind of go back to your original question. Did I ever think that we'd be where we were a few years ago? I knew when we took that jump to open that second location, that bigger location, which is the only one we have now,
Yeah.
I knew we had the capacity to really grow and do what we're doing. And so now at 6 full-time employees, that was huge growth because we only had 3 when we moved into that space. So it's been I knew it was there. We just had to like put the time in and the trust and work the systems we had in place. And if they weren't the right systems, develop new ones. And that's the big word for this year is we're kind of reevaluating all the systems as we move forward to see what can be improved upon and what's missing too.
What did closing 2 gyms do for you? Did it make you fearful or did it make you more resilient?
You mean like the Atlanta Strength and Conditioning days?
Yeah.
I didn't close them. I exited.
You just exited. Got it.
It actually was it was the best thing I ever did because it was just me. I didn't have a partner to lean on.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody making decisions, without fully discussing them first. And so I just learned a lot. I learned to rely on myself more and I made some mistakes and I'd rather make them myself.
Yeah.
Let's just be along for the ride sometimes,
It taught you a lot about having a partner and choosing a partner.
Yeah. It taught me to learn and how to work. And, we were friends before we were business partners and we had a vision together and things. And, that vision sort of deviated a little bit for both of us, partly because I didn't want to drive 45, 50 minutes every day either. And there was no way to do what we were doing up there down here. So I had to kind of reinvent what I thought was a gym, as I brought it down here.
Yeah. And then what was the biggest step of going from the garage to having your own space? What was obviously space, but like, was there something in that you were like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this again kind of thing.
I think it was the overwhelming, because the first gyms, I had a business partner to lean on both financially and manpower, right? Workload. This, just the thought of putting this together. But I had a really good friend who had been training with me for a long time, and he just believed in it. He's like, "Man, I'm going to help you. I'm going to drill holes in the wall. I'm going to lay floor with you. We're going to do this." And he did, and I'll be forever grateful for that guy. He's still one of my closest friends, mentors. I train him 2 or 3 days a week, depending on the week. I mean, he's that guy I keep still. He's one of my friends, and he's never not believed.
Yeah.
And, you need that too. So that jump wouldn't have been possible without somebody going, "Yeah, dude, we got this." It was great. So he's
physically, that's the most injured I've ever been in my life. Setting up a gym.
Yeah.
Just moving the floor because we got the rolls that were like
you too
50 feet long, and you've got to try and move them with. I think we had 2 people or something like that. Yeah, there's somebody in one of my coaches in my gym still in Grant Park, coming up on year 9. He was just friends with somebody who was my neighbor, and he said, "This guy's opening a gym. He needs help," and he painted the gym. And never met him before, came in, and now he's still one of the coaches. And just looking back on that time of I think I tore my shoulder.
Yeah.
I just remember how beat up I was before I opened that thing. And you just your mind is wouldn't it be cool to have a gym? We'll get all this. And then you're like, oh yeah, you got to build all this equipment. You got to.
Yeah. It was kind of crazy. We, it was 2016 December when I really made the leap into there and we had the floor laid. There was a backup in one of the drainage ditches outside. We laid the floors on the 23rd of December, maybe, got all the equipment installed. The whole place flooded. We had 300 gallons of water come in overnight. 4 days on December 27th was the day, and flooded the entire place.
Brand new floors.
Brand new, all the things. Equipment.
And if anybody is out there that's going to open a gym, you don't know this. The floor is the most expensive thing in the goddamn gym. That's why you go in some gyms and they got all this equipment and then patches of floor in. Is because they were like, what? $5,000-$6,000 for this floor? So yeah, that's
the most expensive, and to some degree, it's the most fragile thing you have in the gym too.
Especially for you.
Bad,
you got kettlebells, right? If anybody
kettlebells, barbells, I mean that stuff doesn't go bad like flooring does.
If anybody drops one of them kettlebells on the floor, they're out, right? Out. Get out. Yeah,
Yeah, you're dead on, man.
yeah.
It's the most expensive, and it's like the least rewarding thing. It's like buying tires for your car. Like,
Well, not even that. The second location I opened, I was like, I'm gonna get someone to fit the flooring. And then I was like, "Can you fit it?" And they were like, "Yeah." It was more for them to fit the flooring than it was for the floor. And I was like, "All right, I guess
yep,
I'm doing it again."
yep, yeah. I mean, there's almost no other way other than to do it yourself, unless you've got unlimited funding to do it.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
that's funny. Well, it's fun. I love talking to the gym owners just for stuff like this. If you're not a gym owner, sorry, we went off on a tangent, but
we did.
I'm sure every business has these things that people don't know about that are
Yeah,
like nobody coming in your gym is gonna know how much you love your floor
right.
until they buy their own gym
Yeah,
flooring.
yeah,
So
sure.
Smugs Fitness, I mean, it's awesome to see that it's got to this point, and I mean, it's just a testament to you not giving up and knowing that you have. I think it is you probably realizing how important them people are that you wanted to keep, right? For me, the second location that I opened in February 2020, so very similar to you.
Yeah,
Just horrible timing for everything. But I think if I didn't have the second location, I don't think I'd still have the first because it was so hard to keep going in the pandemic
yeah,
that I had to. I could have gone to one location and done everything, right? But I had a baby on the way and a second location. So the gift for me was keeping it open because it meant that I had to keep a team and I had to keep other people and other people had to do things. If it would have shrunk down to one and just me, I think I would have just been like, I'm done. I'm out. I can't do this.
yeah,
Cause I think I would have fired everybody and just been like, well, at least we'll make money.
right,
But in that time I've lost money, but built a team to now be where we're at to grow, you know? So
right,
I think in a way it's been the biggest gift having not being able to do everything, you
right.
know?
Yeah, and it's isolating if it was just you. Like,
Oh my God.
where would the joy be? Like our team is, they're so exciting and they're such awesome people. Like I'd hang out with them if I didn't have to,
Right.
and that's not because I knew that going into hiring them. They just, we've got a really cool community as you do. I mean,
Yeah.
I know so many people that work out in your
Yeah.
gym. Like they're great humans,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. So
Yeah.
it's all
Well,
about
that's why something like that hits harder for us because we don't segment our lives, right? Like my life is fitness and my team and my family. And that's what I want it to be like. They know my kids. They're
yeah,
like aunties and uncles to my kids. Like that's just the way it is. So the smart decision as an entrepreneur would have been like, everybody's fired, it's closed. Sorry.
yeah,
Um, I'll go bankrupt and restart. But when I look these people in the face every day and then you don't do that. Like it's like,
mhm,
I can't do that.
right,
We're gonna rebuild, we're gonna make it stronger. This won't happen again next time, or if anything like this comes back up, or we're all going together to do something else. But
right,
there's no
right,
sorry, bye. I'm gonna move somewhere else. Good luck, you
yeah,
know. So it's just
yeah,
different, right? And it
right.
sounds like you're like that. Like it seems like your business and your life are like intertwined a lot.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they've watched my kids grow. Some of, my kids used to come to the gym with me a whole lot. I mean, they were there all this week, school being canceled. We had one day where the gym was shut down on Tuesday, but Wednesday we were open in the afternoon. Kids were there with me hanging out. It's they want to go on weekends and hang out. Like it's part of their lives. And
Mm,
my team knows them. One of my coaches stops by for dinner because he lives down the street. He'll just pop in. Oh, what do you guys got?
nice. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my
And
kids love
do you
that.
like it? You like it that way? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, they're people that depend on this business for their livelihood, and they're people I care about deeply. And
Mm,
you just don't get that with large businesses. That's a small business thing, and it's unique. And that's why we need small businesses to power neighborhoods and power communities. They're the ones. It's not
yeah.
the big businesses.
And they're dying.
Yeah,
And people think like, especially where we are, we just had two locally owned breweries go. We
yeah,
did, you know what I mean? And I
yeah.
think people think somebody else is going to come in, but the only people coming in are big business, right? Especially with the rents.
Right.
So if you do have So let's get into that actually, because to go from what you were doing, which is very sports specific and like you kind of know how to coach people, to then retail
Yeah,
is a big shift, right? Like,
big shift.
okay, how
Yeah.
did you, when everything's going kind of the other way, for you to be like, we're going retail and we're going to go a location? And don't get me wrong, I don't think you can buy online. You got to come in, right? And
Yeah, well, coming
okay,
soon.
yeah,
You'll
okay,
be able to buy online, but that system's going to be a little different. You can buy online, and we will ship to you. But we really want to either deliver to your home if you're local, so we can fit your kids properly right there, and we'll bring a couple sizes with us, or come into the shop, pick it up, we'll quick fit your kid, and then you're good to go. So we want to disrupt that a little bit too, because the
cool.
fitting process is really important. So yes, online store coming, and yes, you can just buy and we'll ship, no big deal. But we have this added kind of differentiator where, we can still do a fitting for you. And if you're within 3 miles, we'll come to your house, fit your kids, and give you the shoes you ordered. And we'll make sure it's the right size, because that's so important. And so many people get that wrong.
And
So,
where did your passion for this come from?
it, so the gym piece, I needed a place to work out. So I opened a gym.
Yep.
We got tired of driving, 45 minutes to get kids shoes, because the store that used to be in Decatur closed back in 2020, 2021. And so that's where we had got all our kids shoes. And, then it's, driving to Marietta, where there's Coggins, which is a great store.
Hmm.
But, from this side of town, Marietta, 45 minutes out, maybe you're there for an hour, hour and a half, 45 minutes home-ish. You just took, 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday to buy shoes. And we knew we weren't alone. And people kind of kept saying when they came over, "Oh man, I wish she was still open." And, well, business, you should open a shoe store. And then I just started like reflecting on it a little bit. And we had this same group of people over twice and spent like maybe 4 months. And they talked about it. And then my wife had said something to me when we walked upstairs afterwards. She said, "Yeah, you really should open a shoe store." And at this point, I had already started the business plan. And I said,
Oh,
"Well,
that's cool.
we're going to open in August or September." And she was like, "What? Were you going to tell me?" I'm like, "Well, I just did."
Yep.
Like, what? So that was it. And I have a great business partner. She's fantastic. She's learning business. Her husband's been a friend of mine for a really long time. And we opened the shoe store in my original gym location. So it's awesome. And the flooring is rubber flooring, like in a gym.
Yeah.
Like we've refitted, but that way when kids fall, it's safe, and it's, they can run and test their shoes. Yeah. So, I mean, that's where the idea came. It was born out of necessity and realizing that this was, other people don't want to drive that far to buy kids shoes. They want it to be convenient. They want it to be fast. They want to get fitted, which of course you can do, out in Marietta, but they don't want to spend that time. So we're really trying to serve the community and give them good shoes, high quality footwear, and scientifically backed shoes that, that fit right.
Yeah.
You only get the feet you're born with. And if you don't get in the right shoes early, it's a host of problems for you as you age.
What age is that the most important that you found with the?
The feet develop over, until they stop growing, the feet are really developing. And then even as we age, they develop a little bit too. So as soon as kids are walking, we try to put them in really good shoes. In the beginning, you don't need shoes for an 8-month-old kid who's not walking.
What do you mean by good? What do you classify as a good shoe?
So good shoes. So we want shoes that flex a lot, so you can bend them. So you've seen like minimal adult shoes.
Yeah.
Flex. You want them to flex. You also want there to be space in the toe box so that the feet can grab and feel the ground. You don't want too much cushion on the bottom of them either as their feet are developing, because that feedback is really important. Obviously being barefoot a lot of the day is important, but being in shoes when you go outside is a safety thing. So we want those shoes to perform a lot like a barefoot would perform. And you've got to have that flexibility. But then you also need the durability piece too, because kids tear things up. So a lot of our shoes are hand sewn. They're way more durable than machine sewn shoes. Looking at the outsole and making sure it's got the right amount of tread on there so kids aren't sliding all over the place. And you want materials that aren't going to just break apart. So you have to look at the quality of the materials. All of our companies that we work with, we've curated a really cool kind of unique blend of brands. A lot of our brands are female owned. A lot of them are European, Spanish, Australian, where those companies are hand sewing them. They're fair wage companies. They're all the things we believe. Some are recycled materials, which is super cool. So we've really curated a cool list of brands and companies we believe in. And then we've got a couple, bigger names like New Balance coming in this spring, and Merrell and Keen, ones we're all familiar with, outside of the kid specific brands. Saucony's another one. So, we've really tried to make a strong effort to deliver, like I said, high quality footwear that's actually good for kids' feet.
Yeah.
And you need those things, especially as they're learning to walk. You put a kid in a big clunky pair of shoes, like I see a lot of babies, not to knock Nike, but Air Jordans. Don't put your kid in a pair of Air Jordans when they're learning to walk. I mean, they don't flex. They're clunky. They're great for teenage basketball players or whatever. They're fantastic. But a kid learning to walk, there's no ability for them to get feedback from the ground, and they need that to develop their feet. So, again, not a knock on Nike or Air Jordans, just not for kids whose feet are developing at a young age, even if they're stylish.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love how energetic you are about it. So it's cool to hear, because it's like the gym industry. You've been in it for so long. Like, yeah, you're passionate about it, but you know what you're doing, and like, you could change up a few things, and yeah. But with this, is like, I can tell you've been really digging into what's important. And what has it been like trying to figure out this new business?
I'd be lying if I said it was easy. So managing inventory is completely new to me. Retail in general is completely new to me. You think about, like Oxfit in your neighborhood, you're the obvious choice for a gym, right? You have an established reputation. You're obvious. You're obvious for me when I talk to somebody who lives over there. Well, don't drive all the way over to see us. Go see him, right? It's obvious. Becoming that obvious choice in retail is hard, because you're not only competing with small shops, which again, in our area, there's not a lot that sell shoes, but we're competing with Target and Marshalls and TJ Maxx, and the shoes sold there from a quality perspective are not even in the same arena as what we sell. But you're buying shampoo and toothpaste, and then your kid likes a pair of shoes. So you're like, okay, cool, we'll try this. And then they break apart in like 4 weeks. But we're still competing with that because out of convenience. So, we didn't realize that the vision we had would take so much time to get out and educate our customers. And, some of it's convenience, some of it's, we can't compete with the marketing budget that Target has, or Amazon or whatever, right? Like you're a small business trying to make an impact and be disruptive. And we didn't, I guess, I don't want to say we were naive to that, but we thought, man, we got a really cool idea. We've got a great space. We have a tree house in there where kids can play. We have turf outside where they can test their shoes. They can run around. We have people that do meetups there, like mommy meetups, to just hang out, and they might buy something or they might not, but they'll have a cup of coffee and hang out and maybe meet another mom or another dad or whatever, and their kids play. We're trying to disrupt that and make it a community gathering place too, in addition to retail. But that was the vision, and we didn't realize how difficult it would be to get that out there. We thought that people would see that from social media, from marketing, from referrals. So, we thought we would be in a little different place after a year and 3 months. But I think that might have been just a little lack of understanding in retail.
Yeah, it's a brand new business, right? It's a brand new area for you.
Brand new, it's challenging, but the problems are really fun to attack.
Yeah, and I suppose it's like educating people that don't even realize they've got a problem, right? That's the brand is,
right.
Hey, you want shoes? And like, well, these Nikes are cool. And you're like, right, but what is cool for a toddler? What is cool for a kid? What is going to make them a better athlete? Solving that problem that's the brand you're selling, that you don't realize. It's hard. I always found it was hard. So like the second best and most influential book I read was called Building a Story Brand. I don't know if you read that one, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to do it for your own business.
Right.
Because you're so romantic about all the shit that you do, right? Like you asked me about Oxford, I could list a bunch of things that none of my customers give a shit about, right? Like they're coming because they want to probably look good naked. And if I don't find a way to tell that story, I'm probably wasting my time and energy, right? But you could tell me that right away. And to do it to yourself is so difficult. Just like with your shoes, like, you care about where you source the materials, you care about the tree house, you care about, but you just need to know the problem, right? That most people are coming in. It's so hard to define that unless you ask. And then, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they want convenience. They want to get in and out quickly, and they don't want any stress when they're shopping. And so the stress part we solved, right? Kids can pretty much do whatever they want in the shop. Nothing's going to break. They're not going to get yelled at. You run around like a crazy person in Target, like that's not well received, but in our store, they can do that and have fun. And we do like agility drills with them and stuff. We let them kind of get some of that out and de-stress the parents. But, the convenience piece, it's not as convenient as a one-stop shop like a Target is.
Right.
I can't sell you toothpaste. I can't sell you apples, right? Like, it's not what we do.
Yeah.
You can't come in and grab your prescription and a pair of shoes. So that's the battle, right? That's it's an additional shop. So a stop to shop. So for us, it's right now is making it top of mind and making it efficient in that experience for the customer.
Cool. It's a fun challenge.
It's very fun.
Yeah. It'll get you out of bed in the morning.
It sure does. It also gets your beard a little grayer.
Oh God. There's a reason I don't have a beard, and it's because of that. Cool, dude. I mean, it's exciting. And I think I talked to you, God, 4 years ago, maybe, and you would just get into the sports site stuff.
Yep.
Go Play didn't exist, and you were waiting on permits. So I can't wait to see where you are in another 4 years. Where do you think you want to be in another 4 years?
That's an interesting question. I can take it business by business with you probably quicker than I can say where I want to be. I know SMUGS will be in existence in some fashion. It may not be in the same spot. I don't know. That's a discussion for 3 years from now. Sports site, I believe, is going to grow to no end because it's such a new field. You were a basketball player. Think about all the information that your eyes are bringing to your brain when you're dribbling down the court, how many people you're looking at, whether they're on your team or the opponent. Think about all that information. And then you go to shoot and there's all kinds of craziness going on behind the basket. And you've got to be able to fixate and focus on making the shot, right? There's all that. We
didn't really talk about sports science.
We didn't, yeah. But I mean, that's what we train.
Yeah. What fascinated you by that? Is that your science background?
It's the science background, and it was the missing piece, right? We've got the fitness piece, we've got the sleep, the nutrition, and all that dialed down. But like, what's missing from optimizing performance? Well, the eyes are super important because everything starts with them, and then it's the brain, and then the body. The body's last. It's you're processing information that's brought in through here, or other senses. So even for people who can't see, their other senses, it still has to go through the brain. They still have to process what they feel, so it was the missing piece. And not just for our athletes, but kids with learning challenges, ADHD, dyslexia, we can help with that. And then on the other side, our aging adults, there's cognitive decline that's real. It's going to happen to all of us in some fashion unless we work really hard to prevent it. I'm not talking about Alzheimer's. I'm just talking about the general slowdown because you're not actively working like we're working now and engaging, right? So we can help them continue doing whatever they want to do, whether it's playing tennis, walking their dog, hiking with their spouse, whatever. It's such a cool field and it's so broad, and it's easy for athletes to see the benefit. But for general population to say, you know what, I'm still driving a car and I don't react as well as I used to because I'm 60 now. Is there a way where I can improve my ability to react to things when I'm driving and be safe? So it's such a big field. So I see that being really, really huge for the next 15, 20 years. And we've got the ability to do it via distance now too. So it's not just an in-person piece. We've got some really cool programs.
That's cool.
All across the world.
Because I think I only thought it was for athletes, but to hear how many other
we're at like a 50-50 split right now with our customer base, and the aging population, that 55 and up crowd. We're seeing a lot more of them come in and realize like, hey, this is a missing piece for them to age as independently as possible.
Nice.
So you have a fall, you're set back. And if you have that fall because you can see the difference in height between a sidewalk and a curb, we can help with that. Right?
Right.
We can fix that.
Yeah.
So, and then Go Play, we've got plans to make this thing way bigger than one shop. So I think in the next 4 or 5 years, maybe 2 or 3 shops in here, maybe one up the road in Tennessee. We've got lots of plans for that. As long as we can continue to disrupt the industry a little bit here with how people buy shoes.
That's cool. So where in the next few years do you think you'll find the greatest sense of like happiness and satisfaction from this? Like, if you look back on the last 4 and then you're looking ahead on the next, does it matter where these businesses go? Does it matter how you grow? Like, how do you prioritize growth now? Is it what excites you? Is it more opportunities? Like, where are you trying to build your life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be 44 in about 2 months. My goal is to, by 55, select everything that I want to do. And I think the next 10-ish years, 8 years, whatever, are going to be very telling if that's a reality. And so,
How far away are you from that now, though?
I don't know. I'd like to think I'm probably about 8 years out from it. But I mean,
just in your day to day, like,
there's still things that I'm not choosing.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
But that's not a lot of things. And a lot of that is because I took this
kids.
leap. Well, there's kids, and I took
Yeah.
this leap to do another business,
Yeah.
and I did choose that though. So when there's things to be
Right.
done, it's still the choice that I made to expand this, and it's exciting. So I don't know if I'm really answering your question that well, but I think, it's a lot of it is there already. But there's things left to be done. And
I think the only reason I ask is because it fascinates me that you're driven, you're an entrepreneur, you want to keep growing, you want to keep making things. And sometimes we just forget to take stock, right?
Yeah.
Of like, I'm choosing everything right now, which is pretty cool. And a lot of people don't have the choice, that you have. Like you said, you chose to do another business. And sometimes when you're in it and you're deep in it and it's hard, you think like, oh man, this is tough. But it's always a choice, right? And like, you've chosen to do these hard things because you get the reward of doing something hard. And you could have opened another gym. That would have been easy because the blueprint, you've got the systems. But you chose to do something more challenging, right?
Yeah.
And I know you said by 55, I think you'll be doing exactly the same thing. Personally, I think it'll be something different.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, I'm trying to figure out this new thing. And I'll be like, yeah, it sounds like you, right?
Yeah.
And that'll be, I don't know. I think we all think we're going to like retire and drift off into the sunset.
Yeah. No, I know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. I know there's always going to be something. I say that all the time. Like, I'm probably never going to stop working, but I'm going to be very selective about what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And I want to be planning that stuff while I'm on the golf course. Like, that's a big priority for me. Is I really enjoy golf.
Yeah. So your freedom now that you started with is that you get to be around your family a lot.
Right.
And that's what you've built. Your freedom on the next phase is, when the next phase is 10 years away, which sounds like a long time, but we know it's like this.
Yep.
And it'll be you choosing your day to day and having some more time for you, that potentially you're not just, because right now you pour into a lot of other people, right? Not to say that you won't be pouring into people, but you'll need to be able to decide where to put that energy otherwise you'll just burn out. You can't give all your energy to other people all the time, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. We'll find out.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. Hopefully it's not 4 years until we talk again, but
I sure hope not.
We've been both pretty deep in, entrepreneurship.
Let's not let it go this long.
That's the deal.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And
thank you. It's a
Yeah.
blast.
I'm excited to come and bring my kids to Go Play. Sorry we
Please,
haven't already
please
been.
do, and please tell your friends.
I will for sure. Yeah. And I'll tell everybody in our gyms, if you're watching this, then take your
Yeah.
kids. Get some
I
fun.
can bring you cards and things too if that's
Yeah.
if you're open to that, no
Of
problem. No
course.
pressure either. It's not
No,
pressure.
no. I'm bringing my kids. My kids
Awesome.
just started playing basketball, so he needs some
Nice.
good shoes for that. Because obviously, me playing basketball, I want to put him in the coolest shoes, but that's not
Of course.
necessarily the best shoes. So,
Of course.
yeah, I think he's got some Kobe's that I bought him that just were way too expensive and
Yeah.
probably all messed up. So,
Well, then he's going to grow out of them really fast.
and that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Sam. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
And I'll speak to you soon.
Sounds good.